Did it happen before?
Not to my knowledge. I don't remember. Really.
So if it did not happen anytime recent?
Yeah. Especially, this is not a state visit. It's a business visit, we call it, because a couple of days or 1 day.
Yes.
An official visit, or what we call a state visit, it should expend at least 5 days.
Yes.
Then you have the time to do this.
And it's planned way ahead. Yeah. It's not...
Yes. But this time, really, they want to show how they appreciate the leadership, the new leadership of Egypt, and the relaxation they feel because of this regime. Of course, we were in a tunnel, and nobody can expect what would happen. Now, with this shedding the light on the real Egypt, the reaction in the Gulf was tremendous. King Abdullah, then the Prince of Kuwait.
But let me be frank with you, I am not astonished by that. The relation, especially between Egypt and Kuwait, it was always like that. I mean, rich relations. Kuwait is a relatively recent independent country, in the 60s. Egypt was behind this. When Abdul Karim Qasim of Iraq threatened Kuwait, Nasser sent the Egyptian army to stay at the border between Kuwait and Iraq. So he stopped the expected war by that time. Then we repeated this when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, and there was a military combination of 36 armies. They won the war, but they stand out of the Kuwait city, and they were thinking which army would enter the city. Among the 36 armies, they chose the Egyptian army. Why? Because they know it will be appreciated by the people. They will feel that their brothers are coming to save them. This is a feeling between a Kuwaiti and Egyptian. Mind you that Kuwait is a relatively small number. It's around 4 million people.
Yes.
You have there more than 700,000 Egyptians. This is 15% of the population, Egyptians. Something enormous. And thank God that the reputation of an individual guest in Kuwait is quite good. And I repeated this in some early days, that I would ask our president to encourage the presence of the Egyptian community in Kuwait, even to what if we follow the advice of the Arab League to Arabtize the jobs instead of depending on the Asian workers.
Yes.
You may gain 50,000, 100,000 more jobs, which is not a joke. So from all angles, you can see that the relations are based on very solid base. Recently, Kuwait and the main Gulf countries I'm talking about, Arabia Saudi and the Emirates, they were supporting the Egyptian economy. And the last initiative of King Abdullah, when without any demand from Egypt, he released with his counterparts $12 billion in order to support the Egyptian liquidity. We are not in economic trouble. We were in a sort of lack of liquidity.
Yes.
And we needed the liquidity immediately. And by that time, our Minister of Finance, Dr. Ahmed Galal, I met him and I felt he's relaxed. Now he can talk easy to the World Bank or the IMF.
Yes.
He was not in a hurry. And up till now, of course, we didn't need any other support. But now the visit is going with another message. It's not Egypt who's asking for a fish. We are asking for the net. Net is investment. The fish is loans. We don't need any more to ask for loans.
We want
investment. Ask for investment.
Which is what sustains, because the loan is not really the perfect.
No, it's not. It's not, of course. And let me repeat what Miguel Moratinos, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Spain, told us in Cyprus lately. Don't look to Egypt as a country with problem. Look to Egypt as a country with chances. Lot of chances and opportunities to gain. And if we maintain this, especially in our mass media, this will be the right message to a new investor who doesn't know Egypt, that we are welcoming anybody who is coming to gain and to let us gain also. This is a message now, because we are promoting our investment program, and this is a sort of a step also to prepare for the coming conference of Sharm el-Sheikh in March, which is a very important conference, but it's not the only conference. We live here in Cairo, and I attend a couple of conferences every day. But this one, because the state is behind it, that now Kuwait promised us to send a highly eminent delegation, that we are expecting this from all friendly and partner countries. So I think we are.
What about the timing of the visit? Is there any significance of the timing?
It is, but it is normal, and the timing is a sort of intelligent, because it's normal. We have a relatively new president. He finished with his main internal files, Suez Canal and the security and preparing new investment law and new government. Then we are opening our foreign affairs file. We should start by an Arab country immediately, because the closest circle of Egyptian foreign relations is, of course, the Arab countries, mainly the Gulf countries. I would love to see that Libya is in good health in order to get a visit by our president, or he paid a visit to Algeria. I expect a high official.
Was his first visit?
Yes, it was. You know that the president of Algeria was a little bit feeling not well, so it was also a courtesy visit. I would expect a high official visit with Morocco nowadays also, because Morocco is a dear country to us. And putting Egypt in this place on the map, it's not by chance. We are in the middle of many things, in the middle of the Arab world. 10 countries on your right hand, another 10 on your left hand. The largest Arab country, the largest army. Today, the Kuwaitis were talking seriously about the Egyptian army, that it is the shield of this nation. It's not just to please you. It is the shield of the nation. And so on. We are in the middle of the Arab world. We are in Africa. We are Asian. We are not far from Europe. And this is a gift of God. You have to invest on it.
Yes. I'll interrupt you. We have with us on the line from Kuwait Mr. Abdel Wahab El Badr, Director General of the Kuwaiti Fund for Arab Economic Development. Mr. Badr, can you hear us?
Yes, I do hear you.
Can you tell us what do you think is the highlight of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's visit to Kuwait from an economic perspective, so to speak?
Well, you know, I just heard a little from my your guest at the program, but I have to say, and I have to agree with him, that Egypt has great potential, certainly from centralization of Egypt by the middle of the world, of the whole world, by the Suez Canal. And I think the possibility of investment is far greater than right now.
Yes.
The visit of His Excellency, the President Sisi, certainly have emphasized on that, have welcomed investment, welcome new investment, and that's what we are all looking for. Egypt have, for a long time, have not gained the proper interest of the world, and I think it's time right now to utilize the potential that Egypt has, try to find the best way to welcome this investment. And I think the possibility is far greater than we all expected. And expecting.
Taking into account the wave of the so-called Arab Spring, which hit this region, the fact that we have seen how there are some agendas to maybe dismantle or change the geopolitical map of this region, if you will. What do you think can be done in terms of Arab economic integration? Because if you really depend on someone for your loaf of bread, then you are always susceptible to some form of meddling. What can we do to increase intra-Arab, not just trade, but cooperation on different fronts?
Well, first of all, you have to trust yourself. I think we should not look at the matter as everybody's looking at us or trying to utilize our potential as much as what we should utilize out of our potential. What went through the Arab world, what's called the Arab Spring, have been shown us how fragile we are.
Yes.
And I think what we need is really like to trust in ourselves, know that our potentials are much higher than what we have done with ourselves, and what we have certainly can be put in the right way if we have the right administration. And I think what we lack in the Arab world and what has lacked in the past, decades, mismanagement. And I think if we can refocus on management, refocus in trying to utilize the proper potential that we have in a strict and positive manner, I think we can do a lot.
What can Egypt expect from Kuwait in the upcoming economic conference, which will be held here in Sharm el-Sheikh in March?
I believe, and I'm sure, and I'm glad that I'll be certainly attending that conference, but I'm sure that Kuwait will put at that conference very important people that have say so on that, and certainly they'll be focused on looking what they can do and what they can utilize and work with the Egyptian on their future investment portfolio. At the same time, we in Kuwait, and certainly we as the Kuwait Fund, are working with the Ministry of International Relations in Egypt on helping, especially on the infrastructure, because for a successful investment environment, you need a successful and proper and focused and really active infrastructure. And that's what we are looking for with our brothers in Egypt.
Mr. Abdul Wahab al-Badr, thank you very much for your fruitful input onto the point. A pleasure to talk to you. Your Excellency, we're trying to finish our third and final leg of our roadmap, which is the parliamentary elections before the March summit.
Very important.
Should that be done? Because I know this gives another sign of your clean bill of health.
If I am choosing, I would choose it before the conference, of course. But another option is when the conference is there, everybody knows that we are on the process to elect a new parliament. It would give the same result.
Yes.
So I'm not in a hurry here and there.
I believe it's on the agenda to do it beforehand, at least the first round.